I know. I took longer than a week to return, but I definitely needed a break. The good thing is, in the while that I took a break, I had the time to think of more videos to do, and some of them I took your suggestions from the comments, since I seen a good bit of you asking for some of the same videos. I just wanted to stop for a second and thank all of you for 835 subscribers as we keep moving towards the goal of 1,000. I really appreciate you all again, and again, I just wanted to let you guys know that before we get on into the video. So let's get to it. With the coming of My Hero Season 7, we see in the promo trailers that Star and Stripe is going to be a large focus, and because of this, I decided to do a video discussing her abilities and take a quick glance at how strong she is, since she makes such a large impact with so little screen time. So without getting into too long of an intro, let's start breaking down her abilities. Star's ability is called New Order, and this ability is extremely cracked in the world of My Hero. It's stated so unreasonably strong that it redefines what a quirk can be, basically breaking the logic or widely accepted idea of what a quirk is to people who have vast experience on quirks already. It's also so powerful that All For One believes he would have ended the war much quicker if he had it, and rightfully so. How it works is explained through chapters 329 and 334 as such. Star can set rules on anything she's able to touch up to 2 different targets at once. She also has the ability to touch and say the name of any target, and after doing so, she can assign a new rule of her choice to it. She can use her quirk to power herself up, but it does have a hard limit, and I'll explain that soon. And this limitation is only applied to human-like beings. Otherwise, she has no limit to the amount that she can incapacitate somebody with the rule if she's able to use it. Pretty much implying that she has no limitation or vastly more freedom on a rule that's used on something more generic like air, light, water, etc. And her rules go as far as allowing her to interact and manipulate with all types of properties in nature and even erase things from existence, including the atmosphere itself. She again can increase her own stats. She can even kill a person without physical or projected contact. She can apply the rule to things she's touched with roundabout wording, but if she does this, it's less effective than if she specifies what the rule is for. For example, just using a person's name and having touched them herself. She can use her quirk if stolen to attack a person's soul as well, as kind of like a Duraneg, and it's blatantly referred to as a spirit when it's inside someone attacking them, as All For One himself mentions this. Now she does have some downsides to this ability. The only known limit to increasing her strength is that she's unable to make herself as strong as Prime All Might, and I'll get more into that in just a bit. She's also unable to use the rule on those who are mentally conflicted with their identity. We see Shigaraki as he reaches 98% completion in regards to his merging with All For One, that they are so conflicted on who they are to the point where it's stated that they've melded into a new person. And because of this, when Star mentions the names All For One and Tomura Shigaraki, her rules don't work on them. Now, because All For One isn't his real name, it could be called into question whether it would have worked or not had she known his real name. However, the point is, having the identity match with the person she intends to apply the rule to is what matters when it comes to living target. So moving on to her physical capabilities. Both Shigaraki and All For One are able to stack quirks to enhance their power or create new attacks altogether. Shigaraki uses air cannon to strengthen radio waves during his fight with Star, potentially increasing the speed or the radius of the radio waves. We know radio waves travel at the speed of light, so the ability to dodge them can suggest that Star and Shigaraki's speed is in the ranges of high relativistic to light speed depending on the range between them. She also later calls upon her fighter jet crew to fire lasers on Shigaraki that he reflects onto Star at a closer range than he was before, and she's able to catch them. Now this doesn't mean Shigaraki was the full 100 meters away that's stated in the chapter, as there's nothing giving the idea that she knows exactly how close or far he is, aside from maybe the pilots knowing, but I would imagine if he did, they would have brought it up considering the pilots were used in an important manner during the fight. But all in all, this should put them in the same speed tier at the time, considering they're both able to react to each other. She does this again later and catches the lasers with her 1000 times air avatar, which even considering its size seems to be of similar speed to her real body, given the fact that they appear to move in tandem as she does things like catch the Tiamat missiles. Now I've heard some contention about this because lasers are always something people want to argue isn't light speed for one reason or another. For those who haven't seen my light speed video, I will make a follow-up video soon, as there have been other statements that have come out that are new, things that I didn't mention in my last video, and some things in Vigilantes that I have yet to include since I am only just starting to read it now. So let's move on to Star's strength. Strength-wise, Star blatantly mentions that she cannot use New Order to make herself as strong as All Might. She even mentions that she's bad at doing so, but isn't too shabby in the power department when she does amp herself. However, this doesn't mean the All Might that we know from USJ, from the All for One fight. Considering the backstory that she has, and what we know about what it takes for Star to even leave the US, she likely could have only ever seen Prime All Might in person to gauge how strong he would have been to make such a statement. Especially since All Might doesn't make too many trips to the US, and not to mention, she also believes that someone on Endeavor's level should have been able to beat Shigaraki. Why this matters is because at the time, Endeavor had beat a Nomu stronger than the one at USJ, and was able to damage a stronger All for One than the one All Might used his last embers on, which will put them both over USJ All Might comfortably, considering she's able to beat up an imperfect Shigaraki, who got stronger mid-fight and was said to be approaching Prime All Might's level while only at 98%. When using New Order to make herself 1,000 times larger, it again seems to have similar strength to Star herself, but size increase allows her to use New Order to interact with more or larger items, such as combining the lasers from the fighter jets, or grabbing and slamming all 10 Tiamat missiles into the ocean as an attempt to vaporize Shigaraki. She implies and shows she has enough strength to atomize Shigaraki using the atom-busting clap or the fist bump to the earth, which likely would have worked on Shigaraki had his regeneration not been active. She can fuse together lasers to create a non-stopping blast that she knows isn't enough to kill him. If you were wondering, there are calcs for this fist bump and the atom-busting clap that would get Star anywhere from country to multi-continental levels. So again, while she's not too shabby, this still gets her to equal to or over our post-Prime All Might. Honestly, she's really strong in her own right and almost fits the idea of Mother Nature when you really think about it. Even though we didn't get to see her on screen for too long, I really enjoy the use of Star in the series and wish we could have gotten more from Horikoshi using her character. Having such a character be named as the #1 hero, the #1 female hero, and also be top tier in Japan is pretty good in my opinion. And I will say, I have seen people say that they really don't like Star as a character, or that they don't like the fight with Star and Stripe versus Shigaraki. And a lot of times people are not liking the whole interaction between them because of some reasons that sometimes don't really make sense. A lot of the narrative behind her even existing to me was to fit the idea that All for One and his ego sometimes will take over and make him descend more into badness. Couple this with the fact that Shigaraki is losing who he is as a person, and they're both spiraling into darkness during this time, it seems very fitting that they would introduce a character that would cause All for One to spiral more into that madness. Thirst for power and greed is the thing that eventually caught up to him later on and led to his downfall. So I do think that her place was fitting in the story, even if it was for a short time. And again, it definitely could have used her in other places before. And to be honest, while I don't agree that every bit of her use was the greatest, it was still a really great showing. It's a nice show at a dominant character going against the super strong in-game boss, or supposed to be in-game boss, kind of like what Might Guy did versus Madara. Obviously a little more downscaled. But that's just my two thoughts on Star and Stripe versus Shigaraki and the narrative that's around her character overall. Thank you guys for watching. Sometimes I will post sneak peeks to my upcoming videos on my community tab, so look out for when I do. I will have some follow-up videos involving Star and Stripe, so if you enjoy this type of content, please like and subscribe, and I'll be back next week with another video. See you later.